regular meeting, organizational meeting of the Caribou Planning Board is called to order. First on the agenda is to welcome new board members, singular. We got another one coming, I'm told, but she's not here yet. So Dan Bagley has joined the board, and I'd say welcome, Dan.
Thank you,
Glad to have you.
Good to be here.
You've met the other criminals here. We'll put you to work, my friend.
Okay.
Now, we have to go through the annual election of officers and setting a meeting. Now, we can do this any way the board wishes, one at a time, or
Did
as
we
a
move this
set?
late last year?
That's what I was about to do.
I know, because I became new last year. We couldn't
Oh,
move
that's
this
true.
late.
But
But that's what I was about to
did we do it as separate?
If you want to move the existing officers as stand, you can do that.
I move the existing officers remain as they are.
I'll second that.
All in favor? I can't vote.
Sure you can.
Can I? Okay. Then that's it. I'll remain as chairman. Phil is vice chair, and the other Phil is secretary.
Sure, yep.
Now, as to meeting time, meeting dates, is there anyone who wants to change it from what it is?
I'm happy with what it is.
I'll entertain a motion to set it at second Thursday, 5:30 p.m.
I'll second that.
Well, I'm sorry.
He was asking for
Oh, you were asking for a motion. Okay. I move that we keep our meeting dates as they were in the past calendar year. It'd be the second Thursday of every month.
Okay. Evan, or Phil, or someone.
Could we offer as or as needed?
and or as needed.
Well, we can. I mean, we can always schedule a workshop. So
We
I
can
mean,
schedule a workshop.
I guess that's my point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that.
but we just our meeting dates be the.
Very good.
Standard.
Yeah.
So it remains the same. Thursdays at 5:30. Second Thursday of the month at 5:30.
Did we vote?
We didn't vote. All in favor? No, we're good. Boy, I'm terrible. We have a long set of minutes for December 13th. I reviewed them the other day. Didn't find anything serious wrong with them.
Move the minute to be accepted as distributed.
Second.
Evan's got something.
There was a couple typos, but nothing major.
Are they, do they change the meaning of anything? No? Okay.
I think it's good.
Skin curing is one of them. Anyway, all in favor? Then the minutes are approved. First order of new business is to continue the review
Right.
of site design.
What I did, because of lack of content, we did not hear from either of these contractors bringing forward their final set of plans. But I brought them forward in this manner so that we keep them on the front burner. Winter seemed like a long time, but construction season happens fast when it happens. So.
Once it happens, yeah, it goes.
They wanted to start in April, I think, right?
Duncan Brands did, and I think that also the Caribou Senior Living will like to hit the ground running as well when they get going. So I've heard from both contractors, and both say that we will have those plans. I should have had the Duncan ones today, but probably went in the mail.
So the other contractor you're referring to is Caribou Senior Living?
Correct.
Okay. So we don't need to take any action on those tonight?
Not tonight.
We can just table
The third one, this is kind of a question that I wanted to put out there, but I think that it's something we want to consider, is the floodplain ordinance that was shared with us by the state. We had decided that we'd wait, that we would adopt it as the state delivered it, pretty much as that statute. And but we decided to wait until we went forward with the rest of the changes to Chapter 13. Thinking that maybe we ought to do a special ordinance, not a special ordinance, but send this to the city council so that we can do an active ordinance separately.
To get it on the books.
Get it on the books, but I
Right.
wanted to bring that to the board for your consideration. There's no pending crisis or anything
No.
like that.
But water season's coming up too. Any discussion on that? It's kind of an old topic. We looked it over quite a while ago. Any problem
No.
with moving it forward separately from Chapter 13?
This would actually help out because the state's waiting on hearing from us whether or not we've adopted a new floodplain ordinance.
I'll just make the motion that we adopt the floodplain ordinance as previously discussed based on the state of Maine's regulations and send it to the city council.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, new communications. Ken, you can fill us in.
Okay, actually, we've got a crowd here tonight, and the first one I wanted to talk about is shortly after the last meeting, we had a contact from a neighborhood out near the Bog Road complaining about the odor. From time to time, there is an odor that escapes harvested crop, and there was a formal complaint. I've sent a notice of violation out to Mr. Richardson, and he's got 30 days to act on that. That just recently happened, so.
I didn't get no notice though.
You should have, it went in the mail, and I got it was sent certified. I got the tag from the mail,
Somebody
from the post
signed it?
office. I got the tag from the post office, but not the card that's on that letter. So it would be my job to call you and ask you about that.
Okay.
I wasn't going to confront you right now, but
I didn't get no notice or anything. Or
do you use the post office box or your?
no, I got Bog Road that place.
I'll chase that down. Thanks. We've got another ongoing notice of violation over on Coolidge Street concerning light. One residence likes to light up their backyard. Unfortunately, it's also lighting up the back of the building on the next street over on Lynn Street.
Pioneer.
On Pioneer Street, excuse me. The person on Pioneer has complained. Actually, several times. He comes in every week and complains anew. So we sent out a second notice of violation. The person on 46 Coolidge has expressed a willingness to meet us halfway. I know the PD's been out there on 3 occasions. And the reason the PD got involved in the first place is it kind of come to a shoving match when the neighbors tried to solve this amongst themselves originally. So we're keeping an eye on that. It's really coming down to it's a backyard to a backyard. There is a lighting ordinance, but it's kind of a civil issue. So I hate to see people lawyer up and go to court, but we've nearly exhausted everything we can do for this person.
There are easy ways to fix that.
It's not a hard solution.
No.
Change the fixture type.
You even put a shield in the shade, in the building. Yeah.
The remedy that I put forward in the notice of violation was direction, installation, so they could move that light onto his outbuilding and shine it back towards his house, or just direction. Put that down. Since we set the violation, the neighbor that complained has again taken it in his own hands and put up a temporary pole and shined the light back in the other direction. So there's a little neighbor hate going on there.
Isn't that wonderful?
We'll keep an eye on those fellas. The other new communication is an application for home occupation on Summer Street. This lady actually had a business in town, was a beauty salon on Route 89 years ago. She left the area and she's returned. It's in our packet this evening just for information. Just received it. This will have to go to public hearing as a home occupation, and we'll tackle that at the next meeting.
You need a motion to do a public hearing?
I think it's an automatic.
Yeah, it's an automatic.
Okay.
I think we can handle that.
Will there be communications back to her that her package isn't anywhere near complete?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And there'll be a notice to all our neighbors within 500 feet of that property.
Yeah, all that's missing.
The last 5 or 10 pages or so.
There was one recently that was incomplete, and we approved it with the condition that we wouldn't sign it until it was. And it came through with everything.
Subsequently, it was completed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that's okay, we'll move on to staff report.
Go for it.
So we have been working most lately on demolition permits. So we need to demolish the Sincock building. Demolition permit has been completed and given to the contractor. We also need to tear down the old Caribou Learning Center building. The demolition permit is completed and waiting on a final walkthrough inspection from our building official. And the latest one will be the building on 25 Liberty Street, which has been vacant and open to the weather for quite some time. We've given the go-ahead for a contractor to come tear that down, and they will have the demolition permit in hand when that happens. So we closed out the year 2018 by finishing up the rest of our training. So we have training that we must do every year. I think I wrapped up the last bit of it was, I can't remember the last two now. Online training anyway. That's complete. I went through my evaluation just yesterday. I've been here for just over a year on the 2nd of January. That went well enough so that maybe I'll stick around for a while.
I'm glad to hear that.
Currently, we just received notice for the 2019 round of CDBG grants. So we'll be looking into various things like economic development, downtown revitalization, housing, micro enterprise,
Sidewalk.
yeah. That could be downtown revitalization, actually, yeah. And the last one is public service. Yeah, and that's all I brought tonight. So,
Anything new on the moratorium?
the moratorium is going to council on Monday.
Okay.
So basically, it's a moratorium that will stop any added medical marijuana caregiver businesses from starting until we've had a chance to look at our ordinance and come up with a way to add language to our code book to allow us to regulate the industry where we can, as far as zoning and land use.
Right after our last meeting, I came across an article in one of the papers that was illustrative of the new law. I sent you that.
You did share that.
Did you
yes.
distribute that to the members?
Via email. I did not pass that in email. I thought I forwarded it to everyone via email.
I don't remember seeing it. Maybe you didn't copy me, since I already had it.
No, I would have, yeah.
Would you just
I will
follow
do that.
up on that, make sure?
And since then, I've actually got a similar, there's the identical situation happening in Holton right now, and I've got a copy of their moratorium and actually suggested language for the ordinance. Since then, Presque Isle has called because they're working on an ordinance. They didn't even have one, so that they were asking what ours looked like. I shared ours with them. I've reached out to Fort Fairfield and other towns. I was kind of wondering what the border communities are doing because of the proximity of Canada, the Canadian regulations. So I haven't heard back from anyone like that. So Monday, the City Council will take up whether or not to grant that moratorium. And we'll we'll go from there. The moratorium generally gives you 90 days to review. Sometimes subject to a 90 days extension while you get your language corrected and ordinance passed. So it could take up to half a year to sort that out.
The new law that was went into effect last month gives cities and towns a lot more leeway than it used than the previous law.
And I think that was included in our packet
The
last
right of
month.
home rule, yes. And, but to bring us up to date, currently we have a couple of registered medical marijuana caregivers in our community. And they are correctly zoned, they're where they should be, and they're doing business according to how the state statute says. So that's where we are. And I noticed we've got quite a crowd tonight, and I think they're interested in this issue. So I just wanted to say that.
At last meeting, I'm asking myself why the crowd, and the only thing I'm thinking about is I believe at last meeting we tabled the application for the glassware application pending your checking with legal counsel to see what our options were.
And I think this will be wrapped up in the moratorium, because what's happening now is we have several land uses on the same property. We have cultivation and curing going on. We've got the medical marijuana caregiver business going on. What could potentially be multifamily housing. Do you have anyone in those buildings over there?
Me? It's not really like...
That's your residence, so that's...
Yeah, but it's like all separate, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And where I grow at isn't even on the same address as 9 Bog Road.
I don't think that was the question.
So, but the review of the retail
Glassware.
glassware,
Yeah.
we will review the actual permit to make sure it's complete. And if we deem it complete, it'll probably come back for our decision next month.
Okay.
If it's a complete permit, really there's nothing in our ordinance that would preclude us from acting on that.
Okay, so there's no action on that tonight.
No. Actually, I conferred with the manager today to figure out how to handle the situation.
Somebody in the audience has a question.
Yeah, I was about to open it up before we go to the next item, which is training. I was going to open this up to comments from the audience. Go ahead, sir. If you come to the podium, state your name.
Daryl Terrio. I was wondering why we can't do something like Canada's doing, treat it like alcohol or tobacco, put actual regulations on each type of, like, dabs or flower or whatnot. If it's pretty easy if you just treat it just like alcohol.
At that point, though,
Well, you
marijuana itself is prohibited by federal law. State law is different than federal law. So I mean,
Right.
FDA,
But I mean, you can just like take some of the good rules and laws from that. It doesn't have to be like copy paste, but you know.
right? But that starts way above this board.
Yeah, I know. I was just
Did
saying.
you really talk to your legislative delegation? Because the guidance we're getting from the state is limited, and the guidance we're getting from the federal government is just no, plain no, that it's not legal at a federal level. So, in I think a lot of the things that we're wrestling with right now, that's part of the problem. We're not getting that guidance from those levels of government.
Well, there are some states that, like Colorado and California.
But again, it's happening at least the state
Right.
level.
It's at the state level, not at the federal level.
And it doesn't happen at the city or town level.
Yeah, you would need to ask somebody in Augusta your question.
Any other input from the audience? Yes, ma'am.
Evening. Thank you, Jennifer Condoli, Caribou. I apologize, I came in a little late, so I don't know if the odor violation that was on the agenda was addressed.
We did mention it, and it turned out that Darrell responded that he hadn't received that letter yet.
Okay.
I do know it's gone out because I got the return receipt from the mailing.
Okay.
I didn't receive the card back, which means
We haven't received it yet.
you're right.
Okay. So I had a question because first and foremost, if we're in violation, we apologize, and we, are willing to fix the issue. More importantly, to continue services to our patients. So I guess my question is that is there a guideline or a regulation that I can go by to make sure that we're in? Is there a way to measure? I guess the only thing is there someone like from farming that can help us understand?
Right. And those are good questions because this could be a chicken farm or a swinery or something like that. Also has odor issues. In the notice of violation, part of the remedy mentions best practices.
Right.
And also knowing that there's going to be an investment in this business with new grow, added grow lights and things like that maybe an air handling system would help. And now that's a big investment, but there are things out there. It doesn't take a lot of research to find that other communities are having the same issue. And there are actually lawsuits pending across the United States. And oddly enough, not because there's marijuana, but because there's odor.
Okay.
So some of the things I found, for instance, were a water system, which is an atomizer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got hard water here, certainly where you are as well water. So I would think those fine nozzles would clog up rapidly, and I don't think that would be a solution. They have other systems which are more like an air-to-air heat exchange, which actually has a carbon filter, so that you could exhaust,
Okay, so
that's an investment.
Right. Okay. So there isn't any, I guess, levels like, being a water resource specialist, federal and state levels, there's water levels, right? And so is there a regulated amount? How is it measured?
The code actually references an amount in so many particles per million, but the violation went to state statute as a nuisance.
Okay.
So we quoted the state on this one.
Okay, so the violations is against state. Okay. All right.
And if you'd like, I can bring by a copy of that.
I would like that. I would like that. And I'm just curious because there's other farmer, my home that I purchased is right up the street, and it is a nuisance to have to smell rotten potatoes and broccoli. But there has to be a way that they have a way of fixing the issue, then we're curious and how can we obtain?
I would add too that I've been out by there 3 times to do a sniff test. It's not very scientific, but I never realized an odor when I was there on 3 separate occasions. So this must be a cyclic thing. So many days under the lights until a mature plant happens, and they harvest and then they cure it. So the smell must happen.
So it's going to be cold tomorrow. I'll drive out there tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you experienced that?
Every time I drive by.
Okay.
It smells more when it's cold?
Yep. Because the air is heavy and it keeps it low.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the wind's blowing, you might not find it.
Right. It's when the air is heavy, and it just hovers. It hovers right around the Grimes Mill Road. Just
and we all see that when it's so cold out that the exhaust from the chimneys doesn't go up.
Right. Okay. Okay. And you guys said we'll come back. You said Monday they're going to visit the city council will visit the moratorium, and then
the moratorium,
and then the application will be revisited next month. Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gloria Boykin, Caribou. I've been here for 6 years. A year ago, last year, May 1st, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. If it wasn't for this facility, the chemo treatments I went through would have been a whole lot worse. Nausea is one of the biggest symptoms. I didn't have any. They have one of the symptoms is hand and foot syndrome. That's where your skin burns from the inside out, and then your fingernails start falling off. I was in excruciating pain. I went by their office one day, and they gave me some Salve. I put it on. My hands are normal. My feet are good. And it helped me tremendously. Without these folks, I don't think I would have made it through chemo because the side effects were atrocious. My doctors prescribed 2 anti-nauseas, 2 antidepressants, and 2 pain pills that are addicting. I have a pill phobia. I don't want to be addicted to drugs. Marijuana has helped me tremendously. These folks have helped me tremendously. If I'm in a bind and I don't have the money to get what I need, they help me out because they know what I'm going through. People around here, I realize, yeah, the odor can be overwhelming, but they don't realize how many people it helps. If I lived beside them and I smelled it once in a while, even if I wasn't a smoker, I'd put up with it because of the people they help. I will fight with these people until the end because they've helped me so much. I'm single. I'm doing this all on my own. I have no support at home. So I'm going through this alone, except for these people.
Well, I hope you will feel a little bit better if you know that this board is not operating from a standpoint of trying to get rid of that business.
I hope not.
That's not what we're
No,
about.
but I just want to let you know, the smell, I can understand that. The lighting, well, that's a give or take situation, but for me, this business is good for the community. I'm not addicted to pills. If I was, I'd be out there behind them. But I'm not. And I'm not addicted to marijuana. I'm a functional person. I hold down a 40 to 50-hour job, caregiver. I've been able to work through my chemo and all my treatment. Thank you.
Thank you, man, very much.
I'd like to comment that my perception of the role of this board, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I view our purpose for existence to do whatever we can to have all the neighbors throughout the city of Caribou get along with their neighbors. Prior to discussing this, you heard us talking about lighting, about one neighbor's yard light is offending another neighbor. And we develop rules called ordinances to try to keep peace amongst neighborhoods. That's our function, and that's the purpose of the ordinances that we develop and that are approved by the city council. So, I mean, matter of fact, if anything, we are pro-business, but we don't want to do things that are going to create wars between neighborhoods or neighbors. And so if there's an odor issue, I mean, we have set rules, and I'm not by any means comparing this to your operation to a pig farm, but that is the extreme example. We have rules where you cannot have a pig farm within so many feet of other neighbors because that has offensive odors. Other animals, horses, whatever. It's all in the name of everybody content with everybody else. So that's our goal. And if we have a complaint about odors, we have to look into it, especially if there are neighbors. And at last meeting, there were 3 or 4 that came forward complaining about the odors. And I don't know what's out there on the market. I don't know if there's any kind of charcoal filters. Charcoal seems to absorb all kinds of stuff, whether it's in water or in air or whatever. I mean, maybe you just need a giant air handling unit that runs the air through the charcoal filter. The charcoal absorbs the odors, and then when it's released in the atmosphere, it's odor-free. I'm just guessing. I don't know if for a fact there is such a thing like that, but I just know that charcoal is a common filter. And so if there are offensive odors, it would be good if you could start researching to see how you can decrease, mitigate.
Well, I can assure you that we keep those things in mind just for security purposes. We don't want people to be able to drive by and say, oh, wait, there's cannabis growing somewhere. So all of those things are always taken in consideration. We never knew that, we didn't know that there was a violation. And then when we've done our research, we started doing research, we just couldn't find a way, normally if there's a limit, a state limit for something, there's normally links and everything to how to maintain those limits, and we just didn't find anything like that. But we'll do our research, and we're more than willing.
Because it's fairly new to us too, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, we're learning as we go as well.
Exactly. And like we said last time, we came forward because we do understand that this is a new, a fairly new process, and we're an open book. We've been doing it successfully, safe, and within our laws, and we take care of people. So we're open book, and we're willing to share ideas, or if there's anything that we can contribute to helping establish ordinances or etc. We're willing to. So.
I think it would be helpful if we could not focus on the word violation so much. We have a set of forms we use, and maybe what Ken is using is a form that says notice of violation, but really what it should say in this case is notice of some people objecting to an odor. There's not necessarily a law that's being violated.
But it is a violation of an ordinance, which
it's an alleged violation.
Right, but it's an alleged violation. It's like a speeding ticket. It's a violation. Did it happen? Don't know. You have your chance to dispose of it by the way the state deems to take care of it. I mean,
okay. I'm not the lawyer. If you know there's an ordinance against the odors, fine. I'm not aware of them.
I have a question though. What does this smell have to do with my retail store? That's what I want to get open. I'm not growing any weed from the glass. It don't have a smell with that, but y'all want to put a ban on that too. So I'm like, what's that have to do with my store? Just like this one guy came here, like,
it's just that your request for the store, permit for the store, came in almost the same day as this new law came down from the state. And
it's a retail store. It's nothing to do with marijuana.
Yes, it does.
Well, but I believe the issue was with what you have going on in that particular structure, whether or not it will meet what our ordinances are. With regards to you have this on part of it, and you have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, but you want to put your retail store on the other side of it. So there may be.
I mean, there's two different interests.
And I realize that, but
I'm not reopening the hearing tonight.
What the city manager mentioned last week, or last month, I should say, was when you look at the totality of everything combined. Mm-hmm. Yes, it can be, is the operation getting greater than what the ordinances and or the neighborhood is going to find acceptable? And I think that eliminating the odors would be a big step in bringing harmony to the neighborhood, and so I don't know if legal counsel has chimed in on this, but we're all in a learning mode, and we prefer to tread slow and easy and cautiously as we learn, rather than just to grant something and then a month or two later realize that, oh shoot, we shouldn't have done that.
So if I was to open up a glass store, the same shop that I want to open up in town, would I have these same problems?
Don't know.
So if I was to go buy property over downtown, y'all let me open up
And I can speak to that, Darrell. Darrell actually called me earlier, and so I conferred with the manager regarding the application for retail. And basically, we're going to go back to review to see if it is a complete application. If it's a complete application and it's an appropriate zone and appropriate for that land use, as I said earlier, there's no reason to preclude us from acting on it at the next meeting.
So what he's saying is yes, there is another month delay, but it sounds like if everything is in order, you'll get it.
But with regards to your question, if you were just to come to town to do it, if you bought the right piece of property in town, in a commercial area, then, I mean, as long as your application was correct and everything fit the way it should, yeah, you wouldn't have any problems. They probably would have, they would approve it that day. It's just when you get outside the commercial aspect of it, in a commercial zone, where most of the retail takes place, is where some things become a little bit more intense with regards to how they're going to fit and with what goes on out there. So
We have different zoning for different purposes, and so commercial zone is for all of your storefronts, your retail, etc., so that they are lumped together, as opposed to if somebody wants to open a storefront in the middle of a residential area. Well, wait a minute, hold it. We have rules against that, and those rules have come about because of traffic concerns and parking and all kinds of stuff like that. And so when you get outside of the regular commercial zoning, then you have to go through a separate special process, which is what this is all about.
Have we exhausted that subject? All right, then moving on. Planning board training is next on the agenda.
Okay, I'm going to lump the planning board training, this meeting together with number 10 called 2019 Planning Board Goals.
Okay.
We've actually had an opportunity to get Jay Cam from NMDC here to do an actual training on planning board officials. I sat through it when I was in planning board, and it's great for someone starting out, and it's a great review for people that are more veteran. So we're going to schedule Jay to come in and speak with us at some future date. But what I really want to know is what the planning board goals are. So we're into 2019. We can almost see the end of Chapter 13 review finally. So what are our goals for this year?
Well, my first one is to complete and get Chapter 13 adopted by the City Council.
So,
understanding that it is a working document, I mean,
things
will come up, but if we have something in place that's a little more permanent,
we
then
gotta have something now,
Yeah.
because we're working out of codes that were set back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what's happened, and I apologized earlier for not having your information packet out in a timely manner. What happened is that as I was gathering material together, I realized that I was using the official zoning map, and I was using our new land use tables, and everything wasn't matching up. Well, no, it wasn't matching up because it would have went with the new proposed map. So, under my own self, trying to be very exacting, I caused all kinds of confusion. So I backed up a step. Okay, I went back and got the 2017 information. So the 2018 information I was using, the land use table and the map are now matchy-matchy.
These two documents?
Yes.
Outstanding.
And the list of additional definitions that were requested, also there. Sure.
These two documents now match.
Correct.
Do they have to be, or have they been approved by the City Council?
No.
Not yet.
So they're matching, but they're
And
not
they should
official.
be reviewed by us first, because I went through and did those things that were suggested. I removed the ag zone, I removed the public zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So now we have our area parks in our schools to show off as like R2 or R1, depending on where they lie in town. We need to think of whether or not they should be public, or if we should call them educational or open space, or we do have a lot of parkland that the city holds around. It is not residential, but it's properly placed in a residential area. So whether you want to call it public or park.
That's something we can do.
But that's still
Down
another
the road.
definition that we'll have to come up with.
Right. Right.
But not before. That's part of the ongoing work.
And the other one would be, of course, the RSU. So they own lots of land. Taking away that public designation took away that land use as well. So do we have an educational zone, these lots around town.
Is there more flexibility with those things that could be done? So if the school wanted to do something that was an education zone, they might be able to, whereas if it was something different,
We'll have to come up with that definition.
because did they run into that when they wanted to get the chickens?
They had,
Yes.
they had chickens up there.
Yes.
And because it was educational, there's other laws or statutes that trump whatever we have.
So if it was a different zone, though, it might have been more of a struggle to get it.
No, I think regardless where it was done at a school, that they have certain
So they get
exceptions.
that exception anyway,
Right,
regardless
right,
of
because
what
they've
we-
had chickens up there.
what zone it is.
Right. My concern with making a school zone or, you know, an educational zone or whatever, and tagging any properties that the RSU may own and putting them in that, in the event that the RSU tries to sell something,
Right.
then we run into the problem of, well, it's not zoned for anything but this. So I think if we leave them as they are with regards to being in an R1 and R2 or whatever, I think that that allows us and the RSU flexibility in the event that they go to sell a piece of property, that they don't necessarily have to worry about somebody coming to us asking us for the change of zone. And
Well, it's pretty dynamic, because we'll have some in a residential zone, we'll have some in the commercial zone. I think really, and we have the ACAP area that's in the R area. I guess that would be considered a school. It wasn't my intent to go through this tonight.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get the information out there. And I was going to suggest that, I actually alluded to it earlier, that instead of trying to do this 15 or 20 minutes at a time at the end of a planning board meeting, let's do a workshop and let's work on it for a couple hours and pound this out and be done with it.
I'm for that.
as am I.
Absolutely.
We did that once already, but
We got sidetracked.
half the crew didn't
We
get
planned on a couple, and yeah,
It
half
here.
came one night, then the next time we tried to catch people up, and it was. But if we really can hammer it out for 2 hours, I think we're close to the end.
We're close. I mean, we're splitting hairs now on
Yeah,
definitions.
yeah.
We're that close.
Okay, so what's after chapter 13? What do we do after chapter 13?
Started over.
Right.
We're gonna have to, right?
Yeah.
When's the next comprehensive plan come due?
Oh, I was thinking
That's
the same
coming
thing.
up. That's coming up.
That's coming up.
It's coming up
Actually,
very soon.
The 5-year review will be this year, this coming year. I actually spoke to the manager about that.
Do we? Well, are we going to participate in that review? If we do, then let's put that on one of the as one of the goals.
Something I would like to see, we always talk about being business friendly, and the fact that we have all kinds of retail space that's available in Caribou. I would like to look at home occupations and see what we can do to either deter those or change the way the ordinance is written with those, because we've got all kinds of retail space that's perfect for some of these particular endeavors, and regardless of, because it's a civil matter at that point with regards to covenants and deeds and stuff like that, as we saw with the massage place, that you're going to create animosity, and unfortunately in today's day and age everybody's always worried about everybody else's feelings.
That'd be an interesting conversation in a time of e-commerce and people working on it more and more.
Right, but I mean, but for a lot of those instances, for people who are doing, hairdressing, massages, stuff like that, I mean, there's potential in town to revitalize downtown and areas of town that would fit for those things, that I'm sure that could be.
If they could be economically
Well,
viable.
right, that's just it.
That's gonna be your issue. People,
But you're pushing. Like Ken said, it's all e-commerce and people are working from home. But for those people who are doing some of that hands-on kind of stuff, I mean, I just see that home occupations are going to create more problems going down the road than.
Well, it's not unheard of to incentivize people moving into a spec building, or a building that could be a incubator type style business.
But a lot of times they like to start at home, and then if it can be successful, they can grow it. But if it fails in the 6 months, they're
Yes, ma'am.
Could you explain to me exactly what you just proposed to the rest of the council? Your whole goal with that? Am I understanding that, by the way, I'm Fran, hi. Am I understanding that you would like to deflect home businesses and kind of make that not allowed in this town and try to avert them to retail properties to...
Well, don't go out of here with the idea that that's what the board is for.
This is
one man's proposal.
That's why I'm asking him to explain himself.
It's pretty self-explanatory. We've got all kinds of empty retail space.
Do it again.
If we have the opportunity and we can make it work, then I would like to see less home occupations and fill up the retail space because it helps property owners. It deflects traffic from some residential areas, which people have issues with. And it's easier for egress and ingress for people to get in and out. Somebody's going to go somewhere, they're like, oh, maybe I'll go get my hair cut. I'll go over here. It's just, I think it would be better. That's just my opinion.
And I would like to go on record as saying is my opinion is 180 degrees opposite his opinions. And that we are a diverse group and that ideas get thrown out and they get battered around and they get voted on, and that's why when we are fully housed, there are 7 of us. There is an odd number. And so
there's a tiebreaker.
There's going to be, and so just because one person is saying, I would like to see such and such, is a long ways from making it happen.
Well, certainly you could understand where I would get my train of thought in such a leap where he was quick to mention the odor was a violation, but also quick to say, no, you wouldn't have any problems having a glassware shop in retail downtown.
2 different entities, though.
But you were quick. So it's just kind of neat
You're
to
getting
see
back
your
into the
position.
old subject.
So regarding the goals for the year, though, it would be safe to say that we could review the home occupation permitting process.
Sure we could. Yep. Nothing wrong with having a review. Yes, sir.
Alex Martin, I'm a fan of your end, but you just had stated that you would like to see people come from their homes and, maybe think about purchasing or renting a retail space. Me, myself, I'm a medical marijuana caregiver. I also junk washing machines in my spare time, and all of my business is done at home now. With what you had said, it would then flow the lesson of traffic. But I mean, if I were to take and move my caregiver services and actually get a retail space, it would then speed up traffic in town, as well as a junking business, I would have to have a yard.
It's all based on location, though, too.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
And junking of, metal and washing machine parts is different, per se, than some retail institutions.
Right, so you're talking about revitalizing
but
downtown here, correct?
I'm talking about utilizing the retail spaces that are available in Caribou that are often empty.
Okay. Thank you.
So any other goals that anyone can think of?
Well, we mentioned about, somebody said, let's complete Chapter 13 and then let's start it over again. And Chapter 13 has been referred to as a living document because as times change, new subjects come up, technology, products, etc., then, and for the audience sake, Chapter 13 is a lot of our ordinances, the rules, and so I think Chapter 13 is going to be an ongoing cycle. The only problem we had is that as we revised it over the past 8 years, we've not sent the pieces to the council for adoption. We've decided to hold them all, and now we've got such a massive package that we're wanting it passed. But I think that in the future we need to send it piecemeal all the time because it's never going to end. It's always going to be piecemealed. Every month is a new subject.
Well, I think we had looked at doing it all as one because it's the map.
The map
to go with it.
Yes, the map with the zoning
Everything was on the
is a significant big chunk of it.
And we had to go through and redo it based on the documentation for what we started in 2013 with the, I can't remember the name of the document now. You just
Comprehensive
mentioned it.
plan?
Comprehensive plan.
If I was on city council, I would not like to see little pieces of this coming in each month. Absolutely not. Anyway, if we can, I think we got enough on our plate.
So I think those are some good goals. Yeah.
So, as to chapter 13, item 11, I want to defer that to the workshop. So our next task is to set a date and time for the workshop.
I just want to go on a limb. I don't know if we have these documents from last year, but if we look at our goals from last year, did we meet those goals, or what could we do? Because memory serves me correct, I'm pretty sure we wanted to get chapter 13 done last year, and here we are. So
We've made progress.
We made progress, but it's still on the table. So I'd like to see us maybe check in a couple months to see how we're doing with our goals, and then reassess, so we can see that accomplishment again. Have this document at least updated for the community, for the citizens, so that when they come to the board for, a home occupation or whatever it may be, that it aligns better. So
yeah, and I believe that was the main goal from last year, was chapter 13, as well as some training for the manager.
May I say something about a goal, potential goal? There was a discussion last month, I believe, about the potential benefits of having a riverfront or a waterfront development district, or part of the map. Is there interest from the board in having a focused look at that, and maybe seeing if we can come up with something for a future revision that we might want to fold in later on?
There has been
I think it's a great idea.
There's been quite a bit of interest.
that was a part of the comprehensive plan too, to develop that area. Again, something that in the last 5 years hasn't been discussed. I don't think enough, but I think that's a good goal to, as a board, that we could look at it and maybe figure out some ways.
That was back in the 20 days.
Tony was very adamant about that.
I was going to say, back when Tony Mizuko was assistant city manager and Austin Blease was manager, both of them had this very high on their agenda. And I think the stumbling block was nobody came forward with any ideas of what kind of businesses, or nobody came forward with money to open any businesses on the riverfront.
So another thing we discussed today was riverfront development, and I think that's another worthy goal, actually. We've got a river that runs through it. It seems to be the best kept secret in town. So as our conversation went today, why not approach the state of Maine, who now holds the right of way to what used to be the railroad properties, and acquire those properties? In that way, we could establish a trailhead and complete the trail study project. It's largely complete already because of all our other multi-use trails, pedestrian trails, snowmobile trails, ATV trails. All that stuff is done, largely complete, except for a portion along the riverfront. It was never accomplished. So if we could acquire land from the state, which should be a swap, that would give us a start for this new riverfront development project. There are properties available down there that could be had for maybe a donation. There's another property that could be had for as little as $40,000, with commanding view of the river in both directions. So it's really interesting.
Okay, well,
put it on the list.
It's on the list. In 4 goals, I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
So are we setting a meeting for the workshop on
Yeah.
chapter 13?
I neglected to bring my calendar with me, so I need your help.
December 19th work?
December? Let's did it.
You want to go 2 weeks from today, the 24th?
24th is Thursday. That's okay with me.
The next one is the 13th, so it would be halfway between this meeting and the next meeting.
How does the 24th of January
Next
sound?
meeting would be the
folks?
14th.
The 4th?
So if we went over stuff and we were happy with it after a couple hours. When's the next city council that we could?
We have to have our own hearing before we send it
So
to
we have to
council.
have a hearing.
Yeah, we'd have our own 2 weeks later.
We would, so
And
it-
then
if we do it,
set
on,
the time.
yeah, if we do it on the 24th, then
If we're happy with it, we can have a quick hearing or have a hearing on the next regular meeting.
I don't know if we give us enough calendar days in order to do it. It wouldn't happen
You
until
need
March.
like 15 days to set up a public hearing.
15 business days, correct?
15 days,
Yeah, so that wouldn't give us
No,
enough
yeah.
time.
Oh, 15 days.
15 days, not business. And so
14 or 15? She's saying 14.
14?
She's the
Still, we
boss.
wouldn't have enough.
Nope,
Okay.
be off by a day.
you want to do it on the 23rd? Wednesday?
I don't think we're going to wind up rushing it into the February meeting. for a
All right.
Imagine.
Okay, well, then let's stick with the 24th.
Well, they're going with a two meeting schedule, so it could happen the second council meeting at that month, so how does that work?
Yeah, but we wouldn't be able to have our
We'd
public
to-
hearing.
That's right.
It would, yeah, public hearing wouldn't happen until March.
That's okay.
So the 24th?
Yeah.
24th.
What time?
5:30 5:30 to 7?
Right here in the council chamber.
We want to. If you said a good couple hours, do we want to shoot for 7:30? And I know it's.
Well, I was going to suggest getting some pizza and rolling our sleeves up.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Stay till 8.
Stay till.
No, I'm just kidding. Stay till it gets done. I think if we can have that kind of
I was
mindset.
going to say that.
If we have that mindset, I don't. Might
5:30.
help keep us
I don't think,
focused.
and like I said, I don't think in theory, I mean, we just need to nail down a couple details that are somewhat big, but I mean, I think we could probably knock it out. I mean, uninterrupted with going through and just keeping
Take
our
some-
eyes on the prize.
Members should take some time to review this stuff that Ken gave us tonight to make sure that if we have any questions, we know what they are before the 24th. Right?
Have we got a
All right,
an updated copy of Chapter 13?
That was the email thing recently.
Yeah, didn't I send it to you? I think I did through email. I can send it.
Can you send me another one?
It doesn't cost anything to do that.
Right.
Yeah, send me another one
I'll
too.
send it out to
I
you.
may have it.
I'll
Everybody,
delete
yeah.
it too.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Email.
We don't need a motion for me to call a meeting, so
Any other business?
not tonight. I don't think. Is there any other? No.
Will we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned. It's 6:27. We'll see you all. Thank you
Thank you.
for
Have a good
coming.
evening.
Someday.